What's up, guys? Welcome to Film and TV Weekly, the weekly film and TV show giving you all the top news and views that you need to know. Remember the video game franchise Doom? Well, a long time ago we got a film adaptation of that video game starring The Rock, and it was terrible. Well, rest assured we've got a new video game adaptation of Doom called Doom Annihilation, and this week we got the first trailer for Doom Annihilation, and suffice to say this one looks like it's doomed. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Just the trailer, mind. The film could be a little better, but it probably won't. And it's so bad that the developers of the game actually had to come out and assure fans of the game that they had absolutely nothing to do with this film adaptation. So that kinda says it all, really. An Orphan Black spin-off is in early production at AMC according to Variety's Joe Otterson. However, this is said to not be a sequel, prequel or a spin-off, but rather a new story set in the Orphan Black world. That kinda sounds like a spin-off to me. I never really watched Orphan Black. I tried to watch it twice and it just couldn't get into it. People did like it though. Tatiana Maslany, the main actress in the show, got a lot of acclaim for her role, and I'm sure people will be glad to see it's coming back in some form or another. Oh, and by the way, this is a spin-off. They can call it something else if they want, but it's associated with another show, therefore it is a spin-off. What if there was more Marvel on TV? What if Disney tried to do something a little outlandish? What if they continued to bolster their upcoming streaming service? What if they continued to make people want to give them money? Well, Slash Films' Christine Fisher says we're getting a What If series on Disney's streaming service. Disney wants to adapt its What If comic book series into an animated show for Disney+. This series looks at famous MCU events, flips them on their head and sees just what would happen if they unfolded a little differently. One example of an episode will see what if Loki had found the Hammer of Thor. The show is being overseen by MCU overlord Kevin Feige, and we might just see some of the actors from the MCU come in and voice their roles. So this sounds like a really cool and interesting idea, as it's a way of expanding the MCU without having to worry too much about canon. If they manage to get the cast from the MCU, which is probably a little unlikely I have to admit, it would be a big selling point. However, it is kind of a big what if in itself because Disney and Marvel have yet to actually confirm this, at least as of when I wrote the script for this. And it means we could get some really cool, interesting stories like what if Captain America was Australian? And what if Loki was a woman? Our prayers have been answered, if you were praying for such a thing to happen. We're getting a new Greek mythology-based animated series on Netflix. The 8-episode series will focus on a young man who, cast aside by his people, learns that he is the illegitimate son of Zeus. He alone can save both heaven and earth, but to do so he must survive the vengeful wrath of a goddess who wants him dead and the monstrous forces of evil she aligns against him. I really like Greek mythology, but we don't really see much of it anymore, and when we do see it, it's not very good usually. Regardless, I am getting major God of War video game vibes from this. The illegitimate son of Zeus, wanting vengeance, all that stuff, yada yada yada. It doesn't sound all that original, but then again, Greek mythology, it does have its roots in other stories as well. So, bottom line, I'm interested in this. I wouldn't be surprised if there is similarities to other stuff like the God of War video games. But hey, it's another animated show, it's Greek mythology, what's not to like? From prayers to wishes, our wishes have been granted and we have a new trailer for Disney's upcoming live-action adaptation of Aladdin. One of Disney's best animated movies now looks pretty okay, despite all the earlier criticism of it. I always thought Will Smith was a good fit for the role of the genie because nobody can really replace Robin Williams, and this trailer really put the focus on Will Smith. So that's a good thing. We now see him in action. We now know what this film's going to be like tonally. A lot of cool action, a lot of cool visuals. I'm in. The one thing I'm not very keen on is Jafar. Could be a great actor, could be a great performance, but he's just not right for the role. I guess you can't have all your wishes granted then. Craving more zombie TV? Hungry for good comedy? Starving for a binge-watchable show? Give Santa Clarita Diet a go. It's pretty good, and this week we got a new trailer for Season 3 of Santa Clarita Diet. A somewhat ignored show on Netflix. It doesn't seem to get that much attention, but it is good. It is funny. I do like the cast. Give it a go if you haven't already. Although it is not for the faint-hearted because there is a lot of violence, a lot of gore, because it's about a zombie. The next season of Titans is getting deadlier and cooler because they're bringing in Deathstroke, this time played by Issei Morales, an actor who's pretty decent. I've seen him in a few things, but whose name I've never been able to pronounce. Deathstroke is one of my favourite DC comic characters. He was recently played by Joe Manganiello in Justice League, very briefly, and he was played brilliantly in Arrow by Manu Bennett. What will Issei Morales bring to the role? I don't know. I doubt he'll be able to top Manu Bennett. We'll just have to wait and see. The feels, the goosebumps, the excitement, the hype, it's all starting to get really, really real. Because Avengers Endgame released another trailer this week, and it was really, really good. This time the trailer featured Captain Marvel joining the Avengers. Not going to say too much about it, it also featured a lot of archive footage. Clearly they're trying to hide a lot of what's going on in this film, and that's a smart move. I don't want to know anything else about this film, I don't want to see anything else about this film. Let's face it, we're all already going to see it. And last but not least, breaking news from last night, James Gunn is back. That's right, James Gunn will direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 after all, because Disney has reinstated him. And you probably have a mixed opinion about that. Some people might like it, some people might not. I've talked about this quite a lot on this show, so check out my past episodes for that. Suffice to say, the next Guardians film is going to be a while off because he is directing Suicide Squad 2 before it. And he really is kind of the best man for the job. Well, that's Film and TV Weekly for this week, and I believe we are coming close to the end of the season, so leave your comments and feedback down below as usual, but also let me know about what sort of content you want after this season's over, whether it be film, TV, video games, me, something a bit bizarre, something outlandish, something completely random. Let me know what sort of content you want me to cover, what topics, subjects, etc, etc, and I'll see what I can do. But in the meantime, subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Grant Burton. But any sort of support, any support feedback will be really appreciated. Thanks for watching.